Welcome to CandTCollectibles. I am C, and this is your weekly sports card chart blast, where we take a look at the price action of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth. You like this content, leave a like, leave a subscription, do all that kind of fun stuff, and I'll keep doing it. Started off, as always, with Mike Trout and a PSA 10. Whole lot of nothing here, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. He's got a lot of downward momentum, and if you can work it off sideways, that is not a bad thing. So testing this important level of support that goes back a couple of years. Breaking this, you don't have a lot of buying in this area here, so you could start to see lower prices swiftly, and that will have implications across the entire at least baseball card market. But when you look at the Trout and the Griffey, and you can bring it over to Jordan, Elijah Wan, and a lot of the other big names in each of the sports, they kind of do the same thing. So Trout breaking would have implications not just for baseball, but likely for all the higher end cards. And like I said, if this goes down to, a $600 or $800 card, then anything right now that's getting $600 or $800 or even approaching that is going to get absolutely crushed. So, not saying that is what's going to happen, but that's why we do this. We got to watch this and manage our risk properly. Lots of buying in here though, and I think I don't know that you see this again. So if it does start to leak out, I think you'll have a lot of people. Now there's a lot of overhead supply. Anybody that has purchased this card up in this area, maybe that brings out some selling, but I think there's a lot of collectors left more than investors at this point, or speculators. So it may just be a slow grind. So anyways, we'll just watch it, see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. That's why I do this every week here. So Mike Trout, this is the 2012 Prism. So his rookie card for the unlicensed people basically, and it's also grinding down lower. But you're seeing a lot of accumulation in this area here. This is an important support level. Again, there's nothing here, so I'm not sure that you get another crack down in this area right here, but if you are buying it, this 250, 275 level is an important area. And if it does break that, then the selling likely continues. Momentum is flattening out just a little bit. This is a strong sell up around $750, and you haven't really come into a buy yet, but you can see how flat this is. So that just means that there's a lot of accumulation. And if we do break out of this downtrend here, then you'll start to see this momentum turn up again. But the sell has kept you out since about 750, and here we are. So we'll see what happens from there. Mookie Betts getting cheaper by the day here. That sell came in about $800, and we really haven't got much of a buy yet. So you had a lot of accumulation here. Without this looked like a pretty good area, but the trend remains down. So this is an important support zone. You kind of had this gap in prices, no price memory, and those tend to get filled over time. So yeah, there's a better way to say that. So but we've got a lot of purchases in here to fill that void here, and so this seems like as good a spot as any for this card. But but again, that momentum is still down, and we don't really have that confirmed buy or anything like that. So I guess cautious, but that seems like a pretty good price for a Hall of Famer again, unless Mike Trout drops down to this price. Then this is a $60, $70 card or something like that. Now we have more people in the hobby likely than we did a few years ago, but probably not as many as we did last year. And so it's going to be harder to overwhelm the selling that is in a lot of these higher population cards. But if you're able to find some of the more scarce cards, it's not too easy to overwhelm for demand to overwhelm the supply on those. And so something that only has a handful of options out there, and Mookie, to find his autograph is a pretty rare deal as well. So his Bowman Prime Prospects autograph has it's gotten hit. There's no question about it, from $7,000 down to $2,000 or something like that. But it seems to, again, it's so thinly traded. There's just a couple of sales that brought it down there. So you are starting to see a little bit more accumulation in here. So I'm not saying that these things hold up better or anything like that, but if you're able to get something a little bit more limited, it'll be much easier for the demand to overwhelm it than it will be for something that has 15,000 copies out there or something like that. So it was sitting at a pretty decent level of support. All right, Bryce Harper topped the range, coming off just a little bit. Big time consolidation. As far as coming back down to this line, whenever that has happened, it's been more of a one-off than anything. And I think right in this area is kind of your price. So maybe a little bit of downside on this one here, but again, that's a compression area. So we'll have to wait to see which way the market wants to take that card. Front leg up, sneaking out of the range just a little bit. We're looking for something in here, and here you are. So minimal downside, minimal upside, and the market's showing a lot of indecision. As a collector, I've decided, and I like Bryce Harper, have for a while, and continue to kind of pick my spots to grab a few of his things here. Shohei Ohtani, pretty good seller on that $400 area. 380 was kind of our target, and And we had a few sales that snuck above that, but this is your support zone that we were looking for, and it's breaking out right here. A little bit of news. I don't think that holds, but I think this is your level here. 185 is kind of your line in the sand on that card, and so the trend is down. Again, we have broken out, but that's been it's been fake in the past, and so really want to see a move up and out of this range here before we get too excited here and hold it. So I think the next sale comes in a bit here. So sitting at 220, so or was that 250 or whatever? So if you're closer to 200, but this is a spot where a lot of buying has been in the past. Perhaps it will be again in the future. Or it is now, but maybe it can keep going. And if it breaks this area here, then yes, you're going to continue that downtrend into a much more palatable. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a palatable price right now. Lower prices go with lower prices. Low. Keep it simple here, stupid. All right, Vlad Guerrero Chrome PSA 10 ripping off of support here. 160, 170 is kind of your line in the sand. Nice pop here. Looks a little spiky. Those get quickly brought back into the range, but you're good until you're not. So there's your level on that one here. Ronald Acuna Jr. This is the paper update, PSA 10 versus the PSA 9. PSA 9 is absolutely ripping, so you can get a 9 for like the same price as a 10, basically. So I don't think the 10 starts ripping off of that. I think this is a fine spot to buy Acuna, but probably not the 9 at this point right now. So the trend remains down on the 10. The 9 is two sales brought it up. I don't trust that one. So if you are looking for a 9 or a 10, maybe not the 9. So at this point, there should be a little bit of disparity between those two, and right now there is, and I thought that was kind of hilarious. All right, Topps Chrome PSA 10. Yeah, seriously, I mean, if you're buying the 9, don't you at least look at the 10 and be like, hey, that's $3 difference or whatever. So Cunha and the Chrome PSA 10, so sitting on support as it has for a while. So the longer it hangs out here, there's a little bit of downward compression here. So the longer that it hangs out, the weaker this support becomes. But until it breaks, you're kind of good to go on that particular card. That is the Chrome Refractor to PSA 10. Seems current price. Yes, I don't know. I mean, are people going to pay that? Well, they are. So, but breaking this, brings it down quite a bit further. So one to watch if you're nervous about holding that one here. Chrome update. Wanzo, top of the range here, compressing, and so which way are we going to go here? Tried to break up, but came back into the range here. Really like it. 200, 225 is kind of where I'm at on that one. So sitting at 260, so in the top of the range. So perhaps the next move brings it in just a little bit here, but we'll see how that goes. Again, this is kind of a decent bottom formation. If it can break out of this and hold, then you could see some. It's not going to be a straight shot or anything most likely, but you could see upwards of that $400 level on that card. And if he just does what he's been doing, in the season, if he can hang out here till the season starts, spring training looks awesome. Spring training, hype train will get going again, and there you go. So yeah, sure, I like that card, and maybe you get a few bucks off if you're patient. But we've been talking about it since about 200, so. All right, Fernando Tatis. This is the Chrome base PSA 10, $150, and so that continues to grind lower. And now you're starting to test a very important level of support. This goes back to 2020 or something like that. So if it can't hold, then I mean, really, look at all that supply there. All these people will be underwater, and a lot of people, up in here, they're not waiting till now to sell. Maybe perhaps they've already sold or something like that. If they're watching CNT Collectibles, they're out. But this is an important support zone, so it's worth a shot, but much below this area here, that 150 area, does open the door to lower prices overall, and it's a pretty high population card there. So again, you find more buyers than sellers on that one. Might be a little tough. The refractor, much lower population here. So we've got the downtrend still intact and respecting the upper and lower boundaries on this one. You're coming to an important support zone on that one as well. So perhaps we get some buyers stepping in. You can see there's a lot more accumulation at the bottom here than we have seen in the past. So let off these spikes here, so we may have more of a durable upside and get some people chasing. So you have a lot more people believing that this was is kind of a one-off here, but now that you're getting a lot of people buying in, more people are looking at it, and so that activity looks more positive. And again, that could lead to more chasing. A lot of people see this and are like, what just happened? So Eddie Murray PSA 6, top of the range here. So these old timers are hanging in all right here. So uptrend, and now you're in a consolidation. And one sale brought it, or a couple sales brought it from the bottom of the range, boom, boom, up to the top of the range. So if you're patient, you probably get a little better price on that one. Marco Luciano, Megabox Chrome PSA 10, coming back to his area of support as well here. So When spring training starts going, you're going to hear a lot of these names. Julio Rodriguez and Marco Luciano, and C.J. Abrams, and they should start to get some hype here. So this is an important consolidation zone that we are coming into again. If this is a card you're looking at, that seems like a pretty good price for a guy who's probably going to be a top 5 prospect this year if he's not already there. Yastrzemski PSA 7 with a big rip. So I was just looking at some of the risers and fallers here. So uptrend is still good here. Too much too fast, but it kind of filled that gap here quickly. So this seems more of your area. These spikes are sold off. So again, if you're patient, perhaps a Yaz is in your future. Reggie Jackson PSA 6. I kind of like this one here. So with these older cards, PSA 6s are not all created equal, the centering and all that kind of good stuff here, but top of the range. But with spike low into here, if you're able to get this price, seems like a good number for Reggie there. I'm going to have to hop on and take a look at that one as well and see what I see. But yeah, I don't know if that is the price or maybe there's something with the card or anything like that. But, hanging out in this area here is kind of seems like an attractive enough zone for Mr. October. Jared Kelenic finding some support in this area here is about $150. This is the Chrome Refractor. And, 70 grade prospects don't come around too often. They don't always work, but Vlad worked out. So this was Vlad last year around this time, 70 grade prospect, and his prices are pretty low and it's worth taking a shot. Well, here's another one here, Jared Kelenic. And so I'm not saying he's going to be Vlad or anything like that, but finding some support in an area where you probably should find support. So there you are on Jared Kelenic. Do not forget about him. Wander Franco just got a big deal here. So we talked about him in here. Said he would sure like it if you can get it. This is the Mojo, the Mega Box, with a big pop out, and he's holding it, which is nice. So now you're just consolidating in a downward trend, which is usually some sort of continuation pattern as long as it respects this. So if you're patient, wait for it to break out. Right now you're at the top of the range, so you can see some sales coming a little bit lower here. But if he does break out, picks up where he left off last year, this thing could rip up to its previous highs. Just fundamentally, really like Wander. All right, football. Tom Brady sitting at support here longer term. So just like Trout, got to watch Brady for the rest of the market. If his prices go down too far, then a lot of these other guys are going to follow suit here. Peyton Manning, PSA 9, getting cheaper. You're bouncing off of support here. So this is a pretty decent zone, but the trend is still down. This looked like a decent zone as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, $300 for Peyton Manning. That seems really cheap. $200 seems really cheap. It keeps getting cheaper here. Then the trend remains down, but for now, risk reward sets up sort of favorably as long as you manage it properly. If you look at the raw, that thing got pounded, and now you're at an area of support that we haven't seen that we've seen a couple times in the past, and so the next move is probably up. And again, it could be condition sensitive or something like that. But $50 for a Chrome Hall of Famer, all-time great, why not? So Travis Kelce, another one that's I think this is actually a pretty hard card to find. This is a refractor, and if you look at the PSA 9, sitting around $50, this is about as low as you've had for a while here, and his legacy is firmly established for the most part. Charles Woodson, PSA 10, tops Chrome, grinding lower, and this is kind of no man's land here. So I think if you start to get in this area, you could see more buying step in, and that is $50 to $80 or something like that, $60 to $80, sitting at $170 right now. So it could continue to get cut in half. So I'm respecting that upper boundary here. So it's going to continue grinding lower. Now, if something comes up and he breaks out, then you change your mind. But for now, we're just kind of grinding our way down to this area, which seems likely, but who knows for sure. Eric Dickerson, PSA 9. Getting a little choppy here. So coming off top of the range, coming near the bottom of the range. It is in an uptrend here, breaking its downtrend. So you're currently sitting at, for real, PSA 9 for $100 for Eric Dickerson? That seems like a pretty good deal. This is a really good deal. And maybe that seemed like a pretty good deal. I don't know, but the trend is up, and what the heck? There you go. So looks like it's getting wild here though. So who knows which way it goes? But the trend, at least on that one, is up for the time being. Joey B breaking down here, but I like the momentum on this one. This is a sell signal coming in about the $350 range. Really never gave you a buy until now. We're starting to see it firm up just a little bit. So you're in a downtrend, but now this is maybe too much here. So we have this downward compression, and a breakout would be very, very bullish and fire it back up again. So if you're looking for Joey B, look harder. At this point, Kyler Murray, Sitting at important support here, but what would be really helpful to his card in my Dynasty Fantasy League is if he played again. So sitting at support, so perhaps we'll see some accumulation in here, but the longer term trend is down. If it cannot hold this, then perhaps you make your way to the bottom of the range, which is well, it's lower than it is right now here. So it is what it is. Lamar Jackson, bottom of the range, getting a little bit of a lift here. So we had the I sure liked him in this area, but for me, I buy cheap cards, and so if you bought expensive ones off of that, I'm sorry, but then I also let top of the range there. Excuse me. So anyways, bottom of the range, and getting a little bit of lift here. So this is kind of your support zone. So it's getting a little bit choppy, and we'll see if there's a bunch of accumulation setting in. But perhaps now is a good time for Lamar Jackson. I don't know anymore. C McC, I'm sure liked him in this area here, but once he started getting injured, that's kind of all you wrote. So breakdown, retested a couple times, and there's not a lot here, and so you may be able to get this one really cheap as he's grinding lower, out of sight, out of mind, and you could see what is that, like $60 or something like that. 90, maybe it's 90. I don't know. It's currently sitting at $150. So, but pause it and enlarge your screen because I can't see. That looks blurry as heck. Maybe it's $90 for it. But yeah, this kind of a no man's land right here. Nothing in this area. Not much going on in this area. And perhaps someone's able to catch a falling knife in there. Patrick Mahomes Prism Silver. There's only the silver here. Momentum starting to turn up just a little bit. Still on the sell. But it's starting to, at least it's turning up a little. So not a confirmed buy or anything like that. But you're bringing it to the top of the range here. So perhaps comes back a little bit into this area here. But yeah, again, for Patty Mahomes, trend is still down, but decent area of accumulation here you can use as your line in the sand. Josh Allen, bottom of the range here. So now he's giving you another shot here. You have it's in a downtrend, but your risk reward sets up pretty favorably for Mr. Allen here. So maybe worth a shot. So Bill's not looking too bad here. All right, they're getting hosed over. It's like, oh, Brady's gone. It's like, oh, now Mac Jones. So I don't know where I heard that. That's not mine, but I think whatever. Someone said it, and I thought that was pretty funny. So LeBron James tops Chrome. Momentum on a pretty strong sell since about the $16,000-$17,000 area. Looked like this was starting to try and pop out, but as soon as it started to break down, it's like, all right, forget it. So downtrend compression is intact here, so decent support zone, but maybe just grinds around for a while here. You had a one-off that brought to the top of the range, and now you're at the bottom of the range on that one. So for a trade, looks interesting enough. For a long-term investment, as long as it's trending down, then you can probably wait and make your money here. So all right, Kobe Bryant. Base PSA 10, you had a pretty decent level of support here that it was sitting at, but it broke that, and so we're seeing this on a number of cards here. So continuing down we go with Kobe, and so it's a compression, but while you're in it, the trend is down, so lots of accumulation here. So a lot of people interested, so if it does start going up, perhaps you get some chasing on that one as well, but I don't think we're going to see it yet. Here's your next level of support, and that is that could be, geez, $1,000 or something like that. So I don't know. But yeah, so that one continues to grind lower. So patience could possibly be rewarded. Same thing with Shaq. On downtrend is intact, and then he has support level support, and he broke it. So retest and probably keep going down, I guess. So cool card. I think you can get the golds raw for pretty cheap as well on this one here. But breaking this level support is not a great thing overall here. So all right, Luka in the PSA 10. This is his base card as well. So. Trending lower in an area that's support, but again, the trend is low. So hitting the bottom of the range here and getting a little bit of a bounce, and coming back up to the top of this resistance box here. This was your previous high, and here you are again. So it really needs to break out of this, and ultimately hopefully break out of this before you get too excited. But are we going to find enough people willing to overwhelm the selling on this card here? So lots of transactions, and it favors the downside. We don't have enough buyers for all those sellers as of yet here. Jason Tatum, kind of the same thing. You had your downwards compression here, or not even a compression, just downtrend for the most part. Hit the top of the bottom of the range here and then broke it, but now you're sitting at the bottom range. So this on a quick sale here. So if you're able to get that price, it's probably worth a trade at least. But the trend on that one is down as it is in the most of the market here. Tyler Hero, same thing. We saw the nice pop. Said that may be that may be worth a sell here. So now he's compressing a little bit lower here. So risk is defined below this bad, above this good. So traveling slightly down and digesting the recent gains here. So this is kind of your next support area, and he's sitting right in that one as well. So again, kind of pay attention to that one. Up, down, up good, down bad. right? Got it. All right. John Morant, same thing. We had a nice breakout on this one, and couldn't quite hold it. This is your resistance area right here. You had these previous highs, and here you are again. And coming back into the range, and I'm sitting at the bottom of the range here, so this is a pretty good support zone. And if you're looking for John Morant, I think now is maybe a time to look a little bit harder, perhaps if you were to manage carefully. This spike down was a nice test of the support here, and was picked up very quickly. So. We'll see if it does break down again. Perhaps it gets snapped up equally quickly or whatever. But for now, a lot of buying in this bottom of the range area here, and we're there again. The Joker sitting close to the bottom of the range here. We've taken a few stabs on this one, and it hasn't quite worked out yet. But this seems like a pretty decent spot. And again, some of those higher end, some of those better players right now are showing a little bit of relative life at least here. So perhaps Joker can do the same. There were two cards here that I wanted to put in as well, and for some reason they just refused to go into the slideshow. So Darius Garland, player that's been playing pretty well over the past couple of weeks here. Now we've had a couple of fake breaks out of this trend in the past, and so this is probably your more pertinent line in the sand here. We're right up against it as well. So there's your consolidation, and we're sitting at the top of the range. A breakout with multiple sales would be a very good sign for this player who's been on a bit of a streak here lately. But popping out of the range and then not holding it does bring you back to the bottom fairly quickly. Those false breakouts. So pay attention to that one. And then I also wanted to look at the Lucas Silver. And in downtrends, the silvers and the refractors tend to really outperform. People are clamoring for those, in uptrends. But in downtrends, the silvers and those refractors, those high dollar amounts, tend to bring out a little bit more selling. And relative to the base, he's getting hammered just a little bit more in that silver. So all right, Connor McDavid finished up with some hockey here. PSA 10, 3,700, and we're sitting near the top of the range here. So it's been a great relative outperformer, and I think if you're looking for this card, maybe now you just kind of sit back and watch just a little bit. So selling has taken place in this area in the past. Braden Point continues to grind lower here, but outside the range, and didn't hold it. So we can see another little pop out of this one, but get really excited if it breaks out of this downtrend here. So for now, it is a downtrend, but could be worth a short-term pop. Mika Rantanen putting in some new highs here, which is pretty good. This is PSA 9 Young Guns. And it's not an expensive card, I think. That's so it's easy to get pushed around. But it is coming up to the top of the range. So hockey's been fantastic, but it looks like the cards as an asset class, if something's getting hit, a lot of them are getting hit. Eventually, everything gets hit. So there's no hiding, but you can hide out for a while, but there's no escaping. And so he's coming up to the top of his range as well. Austin Matthews grinding lower, top of the range, coming off again, putting in some new recent lows here. So this is your important support zone at the what is that, $900 or something like that. So a little bit of a pop here. So we'll see what happens. If he scores like 8 goals in a game, then you're gonna rip up or whatever. But for now, there could be some more downside to this level of support. So it is in a downtrend as well. But this is kind of your next target if we can't really start getting it going here. Tiger Woods PSA 10. Here's your important support zone, and getting a little bit of lift out of that one. I don't know if him saying he can't play very much anymore is going to help. But this is something you can use to define your risk if you are so inclined. If you're a collector, just what the hell, just get it. So and Charizard, bottom of the range here, so a lot of consolidation. And we're sitting right around the bottom on this one here. You can look at the cluster, and maybe it's worth a pop or something like that. But again, if you're patient, you just wait for that to break out or whatever. So all right, I think that's all I got for you. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.